Hi there and welcome. I am Heather Hennessy and I host the Mother of Success podcast. Hi there to all of my listeners and to the people who have been following along with me so far on the podcast. And I'm hosting this Q&A session today because I am currently in the middle of a long series of episodes on the podcast about my schedule simplicity solution for new working mothers. And I have lots of people listening and working through my system and sending me questions. So I thought I would put this question and answer session out there for the benefit of everyone. And I will record this and, put this on my YouTube channel and all that other good stuff because we're definitely going to be talking about something that a lot of people have been asking me about. Um, so, the first question that I want to take a few moments and talk about, because I'm seeing it pretty frequently, is one that I want to take some serious time this morning to address. My schedule simplicity solution for new working mothers, it's for you, the mother. No, we are not scheduling your baby ever. Now, I know that this is shocking to some people. Like so much of the advice that we get about motherhood and like how to mother, it's actually about managing the baby and sleep training and all these other ways to be as a parent that try to get the baby to do a specific thing at a specific time. You see it everywhere. It's constant. And I am not knocking that stuff. I found some of that information and advice about the actual like management of a baby to be incredibly helpful. I mean, just a few of the ones that we used when our baby was really young was like advice about sleep schedules and how to survive the witching hour. Who's with me about a witching hour management, right? That's the for those of you who are not familiar with the term, that's the kind of uh, evening hours where babies tend to be most fussy, but also so do parents. Oh, anyway, that stuff was golden for me. Some of it provided me like real like upgrades, but it's always critical for our purposes here at the Mother of Success. It is critical that we remember that baby is on baby's schedule. I say that all the time. You, as the mother, and the other caregivers who care for your baby are absolutely like caring for your baby around the baby's schedule. But the baby doesn't actually have like a job to do. Baby's job is to be a baby and to be on the baby's schedule, period. My work with my clients and on my podcast is never about what the baby is or is not doing and when the baby does or does not do that thing. I want to keep this very clear that we as mothers have a job to do. And I am here to help the new working mothers of the world. A huge part of my work helping new working mothers is when we need a new schedule to accommodate motherhood. That's the podcast series that I'm in the middle of is my schedule simplicity solution for new working mothers, which is all about how a working woman who is a new mother schedules her time. How does she spend her time and her focus and her energy? Those are the resources that each of us has as an individual, right? We own our time, we own our focus, and we own our energy. We manage those things for ourself and for our own highest good. And there was a way that we did that prior to the baby's arrival. And then the baby arrives, and we must, by necessity, restructure how we spend our time, our focus, and our energy. That's what I'm going over when I'm teaching about my schedule simplicity solution for new working mothers. Not the baby's time, but the mother's time accommodating the baby who has arrived in her life. Everybody with me so far? Now, I think that people ask me this question so often, right? And sort of challenge me like, what about the baby's schedule? People ask me that because we as mothers frequently have a story in our heads that is disempowering us, telling ourselves that our baby's schedule needs to change is disempowering to us. That is a lot harder for people to hear. And I know, right? I know that you are a working professional woman who has welcomed a new baby. I know that this is a huge challenge. I was there not very long ago. I'm still a working mother. I just no longer have a tiny baby. And I know that you might really be struggling right now, resolving those struggles, making improvements, changing your experience of working motherhood for the better. That requires decision making, planning, clarity about your expectations. Your baby cannot make decisions. Your baby cannot make a plan. Babies don't have expectations that are either met or unmet. Your baby is not capable of improving your life experience. Trying to make substantive or long lasting changes for yourself as a working mother is not something that your baby can accomplish. Having any schedule that you envision that relies upon your baby to do anything other than follow the survival commands that are hardwired into your baby's brain, that is a recipe for disaster. You, however, as a mother, you can plan. You can make decisions ahead of time and follow through with those decisions or not. You do have expectations that are either met or unmet, and then you have judgments about whether or not they were met or unmet. You have opinions about what you prefer. You are the one with the power and the agency in this situation. All of the changes that you want to make for yourself as a working mother are on the other side of you exercising that agency and that power. This is the best news I could ever give you. I'm so serious. If you get a handle on your schedule, everything in your life gets easier, including meeting the needs of motherhood. We don't want to think that we are disempowering ourselves or that we are telling ourselves a story that is disempowering us. But if you are a person who, as a working mother, frequently thinks things such as, I need for my baby to do X or Y or Z in order for me to be able to do A or B or C, that is outsourcing your power as a working mother to your baby. That is disempowering you. It's also not true. Your baby's schedule and the timing of how your baby is sleeping or not sleeping or doing any other of the baby things that babies do, that is not what I teach. And here's the kicker: even the programs or the books or the websites that do make suggestions for you about what your baby's schedule could look like or should look like, you are the one who has to decide to go look for help, to get on the internet and find what you want, maybe kind of read several things or watch some videos on YouTube. Then you have to go implement that information that you've learned into your life and your baby's life. Do you see what I mean? Who spends the time doing that? You do. You were not working in your career or cuddling with your baby or getting your nails done or whatever while all of that was going on. That entire undertaking from beginning to end required your time and your brain. So, in that way, it really is kind of a falsehood that any baby schedule applies at all to the baby. I mean, I get it why people phrase it that way when they're selling books or selling online programs or offering advice. I get it. Whatever the problem is and whatever your solution to the problem is, it doesn't lie with your baby. And again, I know that this can be really challenging to hear. Like, some of you are feeling very challenged right now. Some of you are relieved, right? This is good news. Having the baby, having the whole success and or failure of your day depend on your baby. What? Baby cannot shoulder that load, but we can. And I love you too much to lie to you. I'm just not going to participate in perpetuating that lie. It's disempowering. I don't want us perpetuating the falsehood that the solutions that you need as a working mother are somehow outside of you. And again, absolutely no disrespect to some of the programs and the books and the information that is out there. I used a ton of this stuff and I really benefited from a lot of it. But again, like, going back to my main point here, I was the one who identified that we had a problem, a problem. Or maybe my husband, right? Like, maybe your partner is like, uh-oh, right? And you're, trying to work together to solve that. It's totally normal. And then I was the one who was the person who most often was like, yep, that's a problem. Let's find a solution. I'm the one who was either on the internet or putting something in the Amazon cart or finding a book at the library or asking my sister or asking the teacher at the daycare, right? I was the one who was going to various sources of information for help. I was the person identifying that stuff. And so are you. And then if you have a partner, right, you sort of get your partner on board and, figure out what to do, right? You print out the sleeping chart or implement whatever I had learned, right? In instigating the changes that I wanted to take place. And then I would decide if I liked the outcome or not. Again, my husband would have an opinion one way or another. And if we were still at a place where we wanted to continue to sort of find solutions, we would go find a different solution. It, do you see what I mean? Like, do you follow what I'm saying here? At no point did my baby do anything other than be his little baby self. Yours won't either. You are the decision maker. You are the arbiter of all of this, and you are the one who needs to work on your schedule. When we talk in terms of the baby's schedule, we are not being honest about the realities of working motherhood. I want us to be honest because it keeps us as working mothers moving toward the solutions that we want rather than falling into the convenient trap that is set up by the lie of the baby's schedule, which is, a lie that the baby is going to do something other than be a baby. And, in my coaching practice, I'm here for new working women, for working women who are new mothers, who are welcoming their first baby. So, really, we're dealing with children who are under 18 months old. Like, for sure, there is a point where your child will have a sense of autonomy and will have opinions and preferences that in the interest of sort of making your life easier, right? Like I find that it's easier to get the 2-year-old on board when you're sort of taking their little preferences into account. That is much more of a situation where you're having a collaboration, right, with a young child. It's like you and your young child are in a group project together. That is a different phase of working motherhood than the one that I'm talking about here, right? For my schedule simplicity solution for new working mothers and for my clients, we're really dealing with small children who are not yet looking at us and going, no. So, and, the upshot here is that as a coach and on my podcast, I want to work with new working mothers to get you into a place where you're empowered, where you can upgrade your experience of working motherhood from a place that is empowered, not a disempowered place. And I know for a fact that whatever solution you need, it lies within you. And the pathway to finding that solution lies within you. I'm creating a way for you to access that solution or that set of solutions in a way that you can reduce your stress level and take back your authority over your experience of working motherhood. And I'm setting my listeners and my clients up so that they are learning a skill set that will stay with them forever and serve them forever. Working on your baby's schedule in whatever phase of motherhood you happen to be in right now, it's a fleeting solution. Babies change so fast. Their needs and their schedules change on an ongoing basis. That's another kind of falsehood about any specific solution that you find for your baby. It's not going to last. Again, there's no disrespect to the programs that are sort of focusing on like what to do at the 4-month sleep regression or what to do for a baby who's reached a certain point. Those are tremendously helpful, but it is so important to kind of create within yourself like a muscle that you can use time and time again to continue to problem solve and troubleshoot as your baby ages. This work on your schedule as a mother is a solution that you can put in place for yourself now when you need it the most. And then you can adapt and use it going forward for as long as you want. That has been my personal experience. That's what I do still on a continual and ongoing basis. So I hope that's helpful as to why I don't talk about solutions for babies. And I'm not ever going to. Again, there are tons of resources out there that you can find about the care and feeding of a tiny baby. Go and find them. I'm here for the care and feeding of you. So fun. Okay. So I do have a second big question I think we have time for this morning. Um, And this is kind of I've kind of combined a bunch of questions that I get. So, to address this, generally speaking, I get people who challenge me that I'm suggesting that they start with a scheduling overhaul. Like, why do I tell people to start here? Very valid question, especially when people are coming to me or they're messaging me or they're asking me a question that is the, like I have a different issue, right? Like my schedule is not my problem. I have a different problem. Okay, I get it. But my answer to people who challenge me about my suggestion that we start with your schedule, it's very related to the answer to my first question, right? I suggest that everyone start working on your schedule because anything that you want to work on in your life requires your time, requires your focus, and requires your energy. And in all reality and in dire seriousness, new working mothers have less of those three things right now than at any other point in their lives. So, say for instance, a person approaches me and she's like, my schedule is not my problem. My biggest problem is my mother in law or my boss, or we need more income in this family because the cost of childcare is straining our family budget. Or, she says to me, listen, my schedule is not my problem. I haven't had sex with my partner in 6 months. That's my biggest problem. It could be anything in all seriousness, anything from any from any part of her life. No matter what the problem she is having, the client is going to need to devote time, focus, and energy to the solution. So, starting with this scheduling work is going to lead her to better and more effective solution finding on what that other problem is. She will have more time, she will have more focus, and she will have more energy. And the the overarching goal of my whole um, schedule simplicity for new working mothers is that her anxiety drops, right? Like her exhaustion, overwhelm, anxiety, those things drop because she's worked through my system. So she's just overall in a much better place to then go, kind of find solutions with her mother in law or whatever the case may be. The support of having a framework for getting her schedule dialed in and increasing her rest and assuring herself that those changes are not fleeting, but are sustainable changes that she can use for the long haul. All of that takes stress off of her shoulders. Also, my scheduling process cleans up a lot of the fatigue and the depletion that my client might have brought in the beginning of our work together. So that makes anything else she wants to do so much easier, right? Like if you're exhausted and depleted, yeah, your mother-in-law might just be extra challenging. So if we clean up some of that exhaustion and depletion, then we kind of have a much better place to start from to work on whatever it is that she desires for herself. So I hope this explains why I prioritize this scheduling work with people and why I am devoting a substantial numbers of hours on the podcast to teaching it. And of course, when I'm working with a client one on one, then we also get to coach on all the parts of her life, right? Like she may be trying to increase her connection with her partner, and we get to dive into that together during our one-on-one sessions. And guess what? If that's the case, that alone time with her partner goes on her calendar under basic number 2 in my system. It's part of how she is choosing to care for herself in the moment, right? Is to increase her connection with her partner because that, feeds her spiritually and nourishes her and, kind of reconnects in that relationship. She's prioritized that. So we get to do that together when we're working together. You see how this works? So, my schedule simplicity solution for new working mothers is available on my website. It's a free download that you can get. And then the podcast series where I'm teaching this process in detail is in the Mother of Success podcast, starting at episode 16. You can find that podcast on, whatever listening platform you prefer. My website is heatherhennessy.com. You can also go to motherofsuccess.com and find that. And I'm going to do a string of these question and answer sessions, while I'm continuing my series. So stay tuned for sure. There are some great questions coming my way via direct message and via email, which I really appreciate. So let me just take a moment here and see if I have got any. Nope, nothing in the comments for today. So that's totally fine. I'm going to go ahead and conclude us right now. But listen, I so appreciate you being here with me. And it has been my real pleasure to talk you through these couple of important topics. So keep those questions coming and be sure to listen to the podcast. Take good care. Bye bye.